We will look into the various ways of synthesizing alcohols and phenols in this lecture. The first way to synthesize an alcohol is basically nucleophilic substitution reaction of an alkyl halide. So, when you take an alkyl halide, we can just write it as Rx. Now, when I put aqueous KOH, you get the corresponding ROH. But you have to be careful here. In alkyl halides, we saw this example, ROH giving you RCl. So, this cannot be true, both of them, because RCl gives you ROH, ROH gives you RCl, means both cannot happen at the same time. The basic difference is, the cardinal rule is a strong nucleophile will always replace a weak nucleophile. Let us consider water versus HX, HCl, HBr, HI does not really matter. Now, I know that my HX is a stronger acid than water. So, the corresponding conjugate base, if this is the strength of acidity, this is the strength of basicity. So, OH minus is a strong nucleophile, this is a weak nucleophile. A weak nucleophile is also a good leaving group. So, OH minus can easily replace X minus, and that is what I have shown here, aqueous KOH we can do. Then how is this happening? Now, when you see our reaction, the first reaction we saw is Lucas test. Similarly, when you see the reactions where you are replacing them, we always make the OH minus a better leaving group by one way or another. For example, I have my ROH, I treat with my HX. The first step is always protonation of the oxygen to form an oxonium ion, and now it leaves. Now, when this leaves, the leaving group is not OH minus, the leaving group is water. Water is not a very good nucleophile compared to X minus. So, basically this reaction is converting OH into a better leaving group, hence I can accomplish what I want. Now, I can put my X minus and get RCl. That is one way you do, or Lucas reagent we use catalyst. So, if you do not use catalyst or we do not convert the OH to H2O, then you cannot do this reaction, only this reaction will happen. But the problem with this reaction is twofold. One is aqueous KOH does not really give you a really good tertiary alcohol. Second thing, even among secondary alcohols and sometimes with primary alcohol, aqueous KOH is also a base, so it can give you elimination reaction. So, the side product is always an elimination reaction minus HX, dehydrohalogenation. We saw this as reactions of alkyl halides or synthesis of alkenes. So, that is always going to be a side reaction. Now, which is going to be the major reaction? Is it a substitution reaction forming an alcohol or elimination reaction forming a alkene? That will depend on the nature of the alkyl halide you take and nature of the base. Now, we have seen this in alkyl halide itself. Now, if you take a bulky alkyl halide, the steric strain in that will try to favor elimination. So, a 3 degree will more likely to give you an elimination than a substitution product. Similarly, when you use a base that is extremely bulky, so instead of coming and replacing the X, it will try to behave as a base instead of a nucleophile. For example, if you take tertiary butoxide, the OH minus there, okay, potassium tertiary butoxide, that will try to behave as a base instead of a nucleophile and give you the elimination product. So, how can I overcome this if I want to synthesize tertiary alcohol? What we can do is we can use Rx and we can use moist Ag2O, sometimes written as AgOH. Moist Ag2O will replace the X for OH, and even for tertiary there are no side reaction because we are here not replacing using a strong base. So, this is much better reagent. It is strictly not a neat syllabus, but it has come in JEE main, so it is good for you guys to remember this. The next way of synthesis of alcohol is something that we have already seen as a part of a reaction of alkenes, hydration of alkene. When you hydration an alkene, it will give you the corresponding alcohol. Depending on the type of hydration, the type of alcohol you get is different. And there are 3 types of hydration with that we have seen before. First is you have an alkene it could be, let's say, R prime. Our first reaction is we can add H plus H2O, acid catalyzed hydration. So this is going to give you the corresponding alcohol. The things that we have seen, if you have not seen the hydrocarbon lecture, I advise you to go through there. I have also solved problems, but I'll just recap here. What all do we know here is this goes through a carbocation mechanism. First step is addition of H plus, formation of carbocation. So it undergoes carbocation mechanism and then carbocation rearrangement into a more stable carbocation. Then we have our addition of H2O, last one, minus H plus to give you the corresponding alcohol. So we have seen this before. So what all do we know here about this reaction from before? It goes through a carbocation mechanism, rearrangement, and also it gives you Markovnikov product. The second thing that we have seen is oxymercuration reduction, or also called oxymercuration, demercuration, mercuric acetate followed by TH of water. Now this will give you the first product, a mercuric product that can be hydrolyzed to give you the corresponding alcohol. What's the difference between these two is this gives Markovnikov product, this also gives Markovnikov product, but oxymercuration, demercuration does not undergo carbocation rearrangement. So whatever compound is given, you get the corresponding alcohol, just the Markovnikov product, no rearrangement. And the last method that we saw is hydroboration oxidation. We have seen this also before. Hydroboration oxidation gives you Markovnikov mechanism but anti-Markovnikov product. So this is very critical. You are going to go through Markovnikov mechanism, but the mechanism is a little bit different because normally your H plus is the electrophile, there the boron is less electronegative. So it undergoes a Markovnikov mechanism. I have explained this detailed in alkene chapter, Markovnikov mechanism, but it gives the anti-Markovnikov product. Now in these three, you want to remember the corresponding alcohol that you get. It is going to be dependent on whether you are going to go through Markovnikov rearrangement or no Markovnikov, anti-Markovnikov product. You want to remember them because they do answer different types of tests. Here is a brief recap of all these three with the corresponding examples. I have shown you here very clearly the acid catalyzed hydration with the carbocation rearrangement and the corresponding product, and also oxymercuration, demercuration gives you the corresponding alcohol, that is Markovnikov addition, and the last one is hydroboration oxidation. Hydroboration oxidation is extremely vital because it helps in synthesizing primary alcohols, whereas your oxymercuration, demercuration and acid catalyzed hydration cannot give you primary alcohol except ethanol, because the moment you go to propanol and above, you are always going to get a secondary alcohol. One other way of synthesizing an alcohol is something that you guys would have seen many times, hydrolysis of an ester. So an ester compound or ester molecule has RCOO R prime. You can hydrolyze it in two different ways. First one is acid catalyzed, second one is using a base. There is a fundamental difference between the two. When it is acid catalyzed, the H plus acts as a catalyst, whereas when it is a base, this acts as a reagent. The difference is extremely simple. A catalyst is regenerated completely, whereas a reagent is used up in the process. Now when an ester is hydrolyzed, we want to be very sure that this is the bond that is broken and this is the alcohol and acid you are going to form. Now this can be shown by isotope effects as well. For example, here if you see when an ester with an isotopic oxygen is shown, this shows you clearly which carbon oxygen bond is broken. The bond that is broken is the carbon of the carbonyl carbon, not the carbon of the alkyl group. So the corresponding alcohol and acid you have to remember, because that will be shown explicitly by the isotopic effect of oxygen. Now if you can do it, we can do something similar. We can also hydrolyze ethers, ROR prime. Now we can hydrolyze the ether using a acid. Now here either this bond is broken or this bond is broken depending on the leaving group. Your first step is the H plus goes and attaches here, so this becomes OH plus, and then one of the bond is broken. Luckily for you guys, this is not required for NEET or JEE mains in detail, but you can remember the final product. Regardless of wherever it breaks, you are going to have the corresponding alcohols. So you do not have to know which bond is broken. That is actually depending on leaving group. You don't have to know. All you have to remember is the ether will give you the corresponding alcohols. This is a good way of knowing, particularly cyclic ether. For example, if I do this, I can break it here and say 1, 2, 3, 4 carbon atoms are there. I get a diol. Now if I do acid catalyzed heating, H plus is going to come here, removes this as water molecule, and this O behaves as a nucleophile, goes and attaches and gives you the corresponding ether. Now this is something where you can only understand it much better when you see it as a part of a problem. Another efficient way of synthesizing your alcohols is reduction of corresponding carbonyl group acids or esters. Depending on the functional group that you are going to reduce, you have to choose your catalyst correctly. The types of catalysts that you can use are your nickel, palladium or platinum or Raney nickel along with H2 that can reduce, and also sodium in alcohol can also reduce, and we can use lithium aluminum hydride, extremely strong reducing agent, and sodium borohydride. The most important point that you have to remember is all of this will reduce your ketones or aldehyde to corresponding alcohol, but when it comes to your ester or your acids, you need a really strong reducing agent, and lithium aluminum hydride will do the job. And you want to remember this, I cannot stress it enough, sodium borohydride is not a strong reducing agent to reduce your esters or acids. So lithium aluminum hydride is stronger than sodium borohydride, so it can do. Here is a table of what reducing agent can reduce what functional group. This is something where do not try to memorize, see it and work on problems so many times that it actually becomes much easier for you to remember. The more you memorize, the more you are going to confuse yourself and forget. So here if you see that the major problem with a metal hydrogen catalyst like nickel or palladium or platinum in getting an alcohol is the nickel, palladium or platinum will also reduce a double bond to a single bond. We have seen this in synthesis of alkanes from alkenes and alkynes. Now this will present a problem when you want to convert your carbonyl compound into corresponding alcohol and there is a double bond in the functional as present as a functional group in that given molecule somewhere else. For example, if suppose we have this and I want to convert this to the corresponding alcohol, I cannot use your nickel, palladium or platinum because this double bond will also be affected. So we cannot use that. In that case, I can use sodium borohydride. So these are things where you cannot memorize it, you can only do problems and start understanding them. The major problem with lithium aluminum hydride is it is a really great reducing agent. It will reduce and it will not even reduce a double bond, which is extremely good for us. But there is a major problem with that is it is very expensive because of lithium. So if you want a way around it to reduce your carboxylic acid into the corresponding alcohol, what we can do is we can convert it to the ester, which is very simple esterification. You take the acid and use an alcohol to get the corresponding ester. And now if you see the table, the acids are not reduced to alcohol by your metal hydrogen catalyst, whereas your esters are reduced. So we can convert the acid to ester, ester to alcohol by using a two-step process. First is esterification followed by nickel and hydrogen. An important way to synthesize alcohols is using Grignard's reagent, and there are multiple ways you can synthesize alcohols. The first three being extremely common. To synthesize a primary alcohol, use the corresponding Grignard's reagent along with formaldehyde. Formaldehyde gives you 1 degree alcohol. All other aldehydes with Grignard's reagent gives you 2 degree alcohol. And your ketones will give you 3 degree alcohol. This is extremely simple. So your Grignard's reagent RMGX, which can be synthesized from your RX with HCHO, gives you 1 degree alcohol. With all other aldehydes, it gives you 2 degree alcohol, and with ketone, it gives you 3 degree alcohol. This is extremely simple. Now we can also use Grignard's reagent with esters RCOCl to give you the corresponding 3 degree alcohol. But the major difference is, when you use a ketone to get a 3 degree alcohol, the 3 degree alcohol, basically it is carbon, 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 OH. The two R groups come from the ketone. Let's maybe even write it as R1, R2, R3. So this is going to be R1, R2, R3. When you do your esters and acid chlorides, you are going to have a Grignard's reagent alkyl group R1 over here. Let's label it as R star just to make it different. The major difference between the 3 degree alcohol obtained from a ketone versus these two is the final alcohol that you are going to have, a tertiary alcohol, will have two R groups from the Grignard's reagent in these two cases, whereas there is only one R group from Grignard's reagent in this case. The reason being, these two will first give you a ketone, and that ketone undergoes this reaction to give you the corresponding alcohol. Now here is a reaction I have shown very clearly. Here I have boxed the R group, so it is much easy for you to see. Now here if you see, your primary alcohol and secondary alcohol are pretty simple. When it comes to tertiary alcohol, you can get it from your ketone or esters or acid chlorides. And the major difference between ester acid chloride is the final tertiary alcohol will have R group from the Grignard's reagent in two positions. This you want to remember. Now one thing that is not said explicitly, but we have seen this before, is a Grignard's reagent will react with acidic hydrogen to give you RH. We have seen this in synthesis of alkane, and there we have seen that the acidic hydrogen can come from alcohol. So in any of this reaction, if you take too much of Grignard's reagent, it will end up reacting with the alcohol that is obtained at the end to give you the corresponding alkane. So this OH will give you the H. Similarly this one. Now the acidity of the alcohol do matter. The more acidic it is, the more the alkane is going to be the corresponding product. Now how do we limit this? By just taking RMGX as the limiting reagent. If you don't have a lot of Grignard's reagent, then I don't have a lot of Grignard's reagent left over to give you the corresponding alkane. This is something usually asked in AIIMS, in NEET and JEE means they don't really ask you this, but you do want to remember this. Grignard's reagent can also give you alcohol with two other types of compounds. One is pretty simple. When you react with oxygen, it gives the corresponding OH. No complication whatsoever. Whatever R group is there, it is going to give you the corresponding alcohol. The other one that you want to remember is a cyclic ether with two carbon atoms, RMGX. Now here this is the electrophile, this is the nucleophile, because Mg is a metal, so it is deficient in electron, R is going to be rich in electron. This is going to attack on this side. So what you end up getting, you can jump straight to the product. You're going to get a primary alcohol. Now the major difference between the other reaction and this one is, here it's a step up reaction. You're going to have two extra carbons. So that means I cannot synthesize methanol or ethanol with this. I can synthesize propanol by using CH3MgX in this, or butanol, pentanol, and so on and so forth. Now these two reactions are not all that common in your syllabus, but it has come in JEE mains before, particularly this one, so you want to remember this. Luckily, no need to worry about any rearrangement whatsoever, just the two carbons are going to be attached. Now if suppose they give you this, now this will give you RCCOH extra carbon, and they give you this corresponding tertiary alcohol. Now how I can say it is, the R is going to go and attack, obviously it will attack this carbon, not this carbon, owing to bulkiness. Similarly, when I go and attack here, the ring opens here, the O is attached to a carbon that is attached to 3 other carbons. So 1 degree alcohol, 2 degree alcohol, and 3 degree alcohol with extra carbons. So far we have seen the synthesis of aliphatic alcohols. Let's go into synthesis of phenol. Phenol, the first synthesis is extremely simple. We can synthesize using Dow's process. We have seen Dow's process extensively in alkyl halides. Basically, you are going to have a nucleophilic substitution reaction. You are going to replace your Cl with OH. Now that is pretty straightforward, and Dow's process is easier if the aromatic halide that you are going to take, aryl halide, has more of the minus R group. 1 nitro will make it easy, 2 nitro much easier, 3 nitro much more easier. We have seen this before. The other way of synthesizing phenol is, you can synthesize it from benzene. Benzene can be sulfonated with oleum. Oleum is nothing but H2SO4/SO3. So add SO3 to H2SO4, you will get H2S2O7. Now that's the common type of oleum. You can have more than one SO3 with H2SO4. The corresponding formula will change. For you guys, this is more than enough. So benzene, when it is sulfonated with oleum, you get benzene sulfonic acid. The benzene sulfonic acid can be fused with sodium hydroxide. It will give you sodium phenoxide, and sodium phenoxide can be converted into phenol using H+. This is much simpler. The next synthesis is also simple, using diazonium salt. We will be seeing diazonium salt much more in detail in our amines chapter. Now when you convert aniline to diazonium chloride, benzene diazonium chloride, and treat it with warm water, you get corresponding compound phenol. That's much simpler. The next synthesis that we can see, which we have seen last lecture as well in alkyl halides, synthesis of cumene. So we can use Friedel-Crafts reaction. I can take benzene and I can use, doesn't really matter, I can use N-propyl chloride or isopropyl chloride with AlCl3. We get cumene. This we have seen before. Now, once you form cumene, you can convert cumene into phenol by first oxidizing it to get cumene hydroperoxide. Now, if you see here, you want to remember that there is a peroxide group in this OO bond. This cumene hydroperoxide can be treated with acid and water to get phenol and acetone. You want to remember two things from this reaction. Phenol is commercially prepared using this method. That's one you want to remember. The most important thing is, do not forget the side product that you get, acetone. Acetone is not only a product, but if suppose this reaction is given as A gives you B plus C and C answers iodoform, acetone will answer iodoform test. So you want to remember acetone. For the reactions it is possible to give. These are the ways in which one can synthesize alcohols and phenols. So make sure you go through the notes again, and also you can download whatever I have done in this lecture from the link below in the description section in this video. Practice problems so that you get to know when you can synthesize a primary alcohol, secondary alcohol and tertiary alcohol. It will look simple, but when you look at it in terms of problems, it's not all that easy. So practice is the only way to master organic chemistry.